You're listening to the Show We Go Baseball podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into episode 35 of To The Show We Go. We have Chris Henrique with myself, Andrew Parker, today. It's our first episode in a couple weeks. We took a little break for Thanksgiving. So if you didn't get a chance to check out our Alex Manellis episode, he spent the whole year in Portland this past year. He is an interesting one to watch this next year for where he starts out, and he's got a great story. He's very charismatic. He's a great interview, but today, we have another member of the Red Sox organization. We have Zach Penrod. Now, Zach, I have some things I want to get into early on, but I'm just going to ask you. You obviously got married not too long ago, and you just got back from Arizona Fall League not too recently. So how's the short offseason been treating you?
It's been nice. Like I said, just kind of moved back home, and kind of we had to move out of our apartment. Well, so she was doing that while I was in the Fall League as well. So she was a trooper, an absolute trooper, because my whole family and her family all came together. And so I'm just getting moved into the place, trying to find all my stuff wherever they put it and everything like that. And it's been kind of a little bit of a hassle, but we'll find it.
I got to ask you too. You're not a Twitter guy. I don't think you're on X/Twitter, whatever they call it these days. Do you see or do you know about how, like, once you came over to the Red Sox and started pitching pretty well, like you were talked about quite a bit?
I didn't really notice it for like the first 3 weeks. I didn't even think about it because like I deleted my Twitter, I think last year. I didn't really interact with anything, and it was just kind of just sitting there. So I decided to get rid of it. And then about 2.5, 3 weeks into being with the Red Sox, my brother started reaching out to me. They're like, you're like blowing up on Twitter and stuff, right? And I'm like, I had no idea. And so he like FaceTimed me and like screen shared and just started rolling through all of the Twitter stuff. I was like, that's pretty cool, I guess.
Yeah, it's I kind of made a joke about it yesterday when I kind of teased the episode a little bit. I'm like, we're getting like a pretty highly talked about Red Sox prospect on, because we've had Roman Anthony on the show a couple episodes back, and obviously he's the number one prospect in the system on some pages, and he's obviously he gets a lot of attention. But I mean, I told Chris this too. I was like, your name has always been being floated around now, and I feel like from where you started this past year to where you are now, I feel like that's got to be like the craziest arc, and probably one that you never even saw coming.
Absolutely not. No, at the beginning of the year, debating on whether or not I was even going to go to Missoula to play and finish my last year, to seeing my name, like they were talking about me on MLB Network. I thought that was pretty wild. I didn't think I'd ever get there, but getting used to it. I think slowly. I don't know. It's still weird every time I see it. Keep talking about it, like all these articles and stuff coming out and like doing all these interviews. It's different. I didn't see it coming for sure, but I'm enjoying it.
So I do want to, I guess I want to take, I guess, go back with you a little bit to your days with Missoula. So how did it come about that the Red Sox were just interested in, and then when did you kind of realize you're like, oh, this is actually a reality for me?
Yeah. So I think we were in Great Falls, and like I hadn't really heard anything. I mean, over the course of three years in Indy ball, I'd heard like people reaching out, asking questions and stuff like that, being like, oh yeah, we're interested, but we'll let you know. And then nothing really ever developed from it. But from my end, there really wasn't a lot of like conversation. It was like one day my coach texted me in the morning, said, do you have an agent? I was like, I don't really know if I do or not. And so I'll just like, you can just talk to me. And they were like, okay, well, the Red Sox want like your medical info and stuff like that. I was like, oh, well, that's kind of different. Not really anybody's asked about that yet. And so got that. And then a couple of days later, they called me on the off day on Monday when we got back to Missoula. And he was like, hey, I think the Red Sox are close to pulling the trigger, which came completely out of left field because I had no idea anything was going on. I didn't really know like the whole process until I talked to him. He came down to the AFL and talked to me a little bit about it. He said it was like a 3-week long thing. He was like battling for me going to war. So I appreciate him for that one. And like, just they called me, on Monday the same time, and they were like, "Hey, we're really interested. Like, would you like a contract?" And I was like, "Well, I'm really not in a position to say no, so absolutely I do." And so then I was like, "Okay, I'll have like a week. They'll reach out, give me like some time to like get things settled in Missoula before they fly me out." And it was like, "No, next day noon, Tuesday noon, I flew out to meet the team in Winston-Salem." So it's kind of how it rolled.
Oh, and you joined a team, obviously, that ended up winning a championship. So what was it like, I guess, once you got to Greenville and got rolling a little bit?
I just wanted to like kind of settle in and like show what I was capable of, like just kind of just continue playing the game and not try to intimidate myself or like being around, thinking of it being as a different level of competition, everything like that. I just kind of wanted to settle in and see what I could do. Luckily, I didn't have to pitch like the first day I got there. Like they gave me a couple days to kind of see what it was all about, and I pitched that Friday. But it was different. I mean, it was funny because I think we were on like an 8-game skid at that point when we were in Winston-Salem, and so I was in the elevator with Iggy, and he just looked at me and he goes, "Hey, like I promise we're not this bad." I was like, dude, I have me cracking up because like from what I seen, like there were close games, but like it was definitely a little tough going from the team in Missoula where we were just kind of used to winning, and then going over there and we're like, okay, man, we got to figure it out eventually, right?
I mean, it ended up paying off because obviously you're gonna get a ring out of being with your time in Greenville. Once that team got rolling though, and obviously like out of that skid, and I guess what was it like? I guess just going into the playoffs and being like, okay, like we're kind of a wagon right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think like again towards the end of the year we were in Aberdeen. I think we lost 6 straight before going to the playoffs, and so like we were sitting there like, guys, like I'm glad we saved all the wins for the playoffs, but like could we not do it like this?
I was gonna say, didn't you guys like sweep both series or something in the playoffs?
Yeah. It's all about who gets hot at the right time. So, being the pitcher that goes out and starts game 1, I kind of knew that like I needed to set the tone, set the pace, and just kind of being one of the oldest players on the team, I think I needed to try to just slow everybody down and like kind of just settle everybody in so we could roll through there. And I think it ended up going. I mean, the first inning was a little rocky. I think I walked the first 2 batters. No, I think I walked the first guy on 4 straight. And then kind of figured it out after that. But yeah, just tried to slow everybody down and settle in.
I read in an article you did with the Boston Herald that you had said that when you first got there, you felt out of place. Why did you feel out of place?
Because it was actually just like in relation to like facilities and stuff like that. Okay. Because I was talking about how I was in Great Falls, and I think it's like I don't even know, just a very cramped box of a clubhouse where everybody's got like a little tiny locker. And then I mean, it wasn't too much different when I got to Winston-Salem. My locker was actually in the shower. They gave me because there weren't any open ones. So I got the little handicap stall in the shower where I just had a box of stuff that they had given me. Man. And that was where I was at. But it was like when I got back to Greenville, like the facilities there were like immaculate. And like I just kind of walked in. I was like, this is way different and way better than anything I've had in the last 3 years. So like that was more what I was referring to.
What was your thoughts on Greenville in general? Because every time we talk to someone who's played down there, it's been nothing but great things. What was your immediate thoughts of not so much like obviously playing for that team, but just the area?
I actually liked it a lot. I remember calling my wife and I was like, hey, this could be somewhere like I could see us moving to. Because like we've been looking kind of like get out of there, go somewhere like this decently warm for most of the year. I don't know how it is obviously in the winter because I wasn't there, but like I really enjoyed it, and like the area around there was awesome. We found a couple good eating spots with the guys, and I think it's a very nice place. I could see myself living there, honestly.
I think it's very underrated it's very walkable. There's a lot to do downtown Greenville. And then obviously the stadium's not too far from like where that main I've been there. I've only been there like a couple times, but there's like that area with like the red brick sidewalks and all that. I feel like it's not too far from like where a lot of the restaurants and stuff are. So very underrated city. Portland as well is up there, but I'm sure you will get to experience that next year. But so we kind of talked about you coming over and so you had some pretty good teammates whenever you were there in Greenville. I think you got there right after I think Roman Anthony was on the team when you were there.
Yeah, he was there. He was there for a couple weeks. By the time
Okay,
I
well,
got, yeah.
What was it like? Yeah, I know we talked a little bit off air, but he is a guy that's now ranked at number 1 in the system. Like, I guess, what was it like playing with him and some of the other top prospects in the system once you got here?
I thought it was awesome. I mean, I got to see I got to throw to Teal my first outing, which was nice. Getting to know those guys was great. I was always impressed with Roman's at bats. It was incredible. Like his discipline and just his overall approach was always amazing. And then I love watching Teal swing the bat. It was really cool. He's all or nothing, and I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it's incredible that he was just drafted this year when you kind of think about it, and it's like where he ended up in Double-A, obviously. But I feel like every pitcher we talk to that's thrown to him, and we've had quite a few on this show, they all say the same thing. It's very matured. It doesn't seem like a catcher that just got drafted this past year. So
I think one of the things just to add to that was just like throwing to him, just like it felt like we kind of clicked right away. He kind of got a sense of what I was trying to do. Like we had the pregame meeting and we were talking about it, and I was like, we were kind of getting on the same page. And then about at the end of the first inning, it was almost like we clicked immediately. Like it was just like he knew what I was trying to do to guys. We kind of got on the same page between innings, and it was just we rolled. So it was really nice.
It's impressive to think about. We had Hunter Dobbins on the show not too long ago. He was in Double-A this past year, and Teal caught one of his games when he got up to Double-A, and I remember Hunter saying it was one of those things where it's like Teal had never caught him before. He didn't even get to catch a bullpen of the guy because he got called up, and it was Hunter Dobbins' day when he was pitching, and he's like, that guy had never caught me before, and we were already on the same page. It's crazy. He's like, that doesn't happen all the time. Like it usually takes a few starts or bullpens or something to like get used to. So hearing that, I think is going to, I guess, maybe give Red Sox fans a little hope in the future of like, hey, this could be the guy for the next 10 years. So it's always good to hear the pitchers that are throwing to him down in the minors with some good stuff. So I know we talked earlier that you're a very talked about guy on Twitter, and I feel like your name's always coming up, but for people that aren't familiar with you, so, because obviously you're new to the system, just this past year. So what, if you had to describe like what kind of pitcher you are, like what would you say to those people that aren't familiar with you?
I don't know. Just a thrower that learned how to pitch, I guess I could say. I was always up there trying to throw hard. And so that was kind of what I lived off of. And then, I developed a decent secondary pitch in my changeup, and I enjoy throwing it. And then just spent the last 3 years kind of developing myself as more of as a pitcher rather than just up there just trying to throw as hard as I can by guys. And so I was able to keep the velocity there and learn kind of how to pitch to guys. I think that's very important in today's game. As we move with data and everything like that, like you're given like kind of a layout of how to approach guys, but at the same time, like you can, if you learn to make those adjustments while you're on the mound, then I think it's going to be a lot more beneficial to yourself. So just kind of, learn how to pitch.
And so you had Tommy John surgery in 2019. Did you notice anything pre and post surgery? Like, did you get the famous uptick in velocity, and did you kind of, I guess, not reinvent yourself, but did you kind of maybe learn some new things about your arm after surgery?
Yeah, just I think a lot of it is just arm management at that point. Like before surgery, I had never really had any arm issues whatsoever. Like no aches, pains. I would get the random like tendonitis every now and again, but as an outfielder, I never really threw that much, so I never really had to worry about it. And then kind of the whole Tommy John process is more just along the lines of giving yourself time to like learn how to strengthen your arm, how to condition your arm, and then how to take care of it long term. And I think that over the 3 years after Tommy John, I saw the uptick in velocity. I think my first bullpen, I went from sitting 90, 92, and then like after I got released, I went and threw a bullpen because like I was about to start bullpens in spring training, and I jumped up to 95 in my first bullpen. I was definitely not supposed to be letting it eat a little bit, but I was kind of irritated, frustrated, wanted to see what I could do. And so I got up to 95 in that first bullpen, but everything after that, it just became kind of a battle of like understanding how my arm feels, how like to differentiate between like sore and like pain and everything like that, and like getting past the mental block of your arm's fine. Like it's reconstructed, but like, those aches and pains are going to happen. Like you're never going to feel like 100% like it used to, obviously, because you had, all that work done in it. So there's kind of that mental block. Getting past that post-surgery, I think, is huge. And then, I got that little uptick in velocity, and then just staying consistent with it comes with taking care of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously paid off. From at post-surgery to where you are now, it's honestly crazy. I know we talked about it earlier, but so Chris, I want to dive into some AFL stuff if you have anything before I jump over to AFL.
No, I guess, do you still have that though in the back of your mind? Like how you're saying how, you got to differentiate between the pain and soreness, but is it always kind of still in the back of your mind? Like, hey, like I had this Tommy John or is that kind of like over and done with? You just go out there, you pitch, you do your thing. Just wondering, like, when guys have that, because it's obviously a common surgery, is it just something where you can put out of sight, out of mind, and get back to work?
I personally, I think I have to. Like when I go out there on the mound, like if you have any type of like, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but like reservations about going out there and throwing at the best you can every single time, then you're not going to be like at your 100%. Like you kind of got to, like, especially with a big surgery like that, like you kind of just need to, like, in the moment, just don't think about it. Like like if it's going to go again, it's going to go again. So like, there's no point in letting yourself bother with it. I think post start, you kind of like feel that next day and you're kind of like, okay, all right, here we go. Like kind of evaluate how it's going to be throughout the week, what I need to do a little extra of, like, okay, like, and again, like understanding your arm and like getting a feel for that comes with time. And so I'll like evaluate the next day after my start, like, okay, how does it feel? Like, is it sore? Like, all right, what is it? Where is it sore at? Like the different areas, like forearm, taking care of that. And then, so, I mean, in the start, no, it's definitely not there, but like post start, like when it wakes you up in the middle of the night, cause you're like pretty sore, you're like, okay, I need to take care of myself a little bit more this week. So.
Yeah. Interesting perspective, because we actually have another interview tonight, and it's after this, and it's with Taylor Broadway from the Red Sox, and he just had Tommy John probably a month ago. So he's early on in the recovery, and I'm sure he's obviously in a very interesting spot, I guess, because he had never gone through that before, and I'm sure it's just not a fun situation to be in, but it's just one that you got to deal with. So I know he's going to come back even better. So, all right, I want to jump into some AFL stuff. I knew you were you did well in the AFL. I didn't realize you did that well. Can you talk about, I guess, just first of all, just what was it like being in the Arizona Fall League with a bunch of guys that are pretty much like going to be playing in the bigs one day?
I thought it was awesome. That moment didn't really click for me. Like I knew what the AFL was and I knew what it was all about. But I think it was like the first players meeting we got in there, and like they were up there talking, and there was something outside of, like, in the last 3 years, only 2 players in the AFL have ever not made their debut in the year or two afterwards. And I was like, that's like, wow. I knew this was cool, but like it just kind of dawned on me in that moment, like everybody in this room is more than likely going to be in the big leagues. And I think when that moment of realization hit, I was like, this is wild. Like the fact that I went from where I was at to start the year, getting picked up, and then being able to do well, and then to find myself there, just kind of, I just couldn't help. I was like smiling the whole time sitting in the players meeting. Like everybody was like, I mean, they obviously going through those meetings is never an incredibly enjoyable time, 5 hours sitting in those chairs. But like, I was just like, those moments where you just think to yourself, man, I'm right here. Everybody in this room is a dude. Like, this is going to be awesome.
You had some good teammates from the Red Sox organization that joined you, and I feel like fans for the most part got your good teammate Christopher Troy definitely let a lot of people in to kind of see what was going on, and he's been very big on social media. I don't know if you knew that. I'm sure you did, but he's pretty much become like a star on Twitter and Instagram and everything. But what was it? I mean, it seemed like you guys were pretty close, like you, Hickey, Troy, just all like Wyatt Old. So it's all those guys.
Yeah, I was awesome. It's like the very first day, I was like kind of wondering how it was going to go, like meeting everybody and everything like that. Obviously, like, I've had meet a lot of new people this year, and so it's just kind of been trying to figure out everybody's energy. And like as soon as I met those guys, like CT's energy was unmatched. Hickey's energy was unmatched. Olds, they all played off each other so well. They played with each other all season. Like it was absolute comedy. And like I think the funnier part and why it ended up being so like we felt like we were so close and like kind of like clicking and everything like that is we all had to cram into the little rental car that we had. So there was all 5 of us in a tiny little Tacoma. And so just like rolling around together and all that other stuff. And then, like I said, their energy was unmatched from the second I got there. So I was like, I don't know how I'm going to match that. I don't think I ever will, but like this is a fun group of guys.
Did you ever, I know you obviously were talking about the statistic about a lot of these guys are going to be in the bigs. Your stats were great. You made 4 starts and, your numbers were great. So did you, like, I guess when you were on the mound though, were you kind of like every single guy that comes up to steps in that batter's box that you're just like, all of these guys are just insane prospects, or they're obviously everybody there, like you said, they're all dudes. It's like they're there for a reason. So did you ever think when you're on the mound, you're like, oh man, like this is some of the best competition I faced?
I think the first time I thought that, like I was trying to put it to the back of my mind, I was like, I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to intimidate myself and like go out there and like suck. Especially because I had that first start of the AFL in where was we were in Salt River, and so I had that first one. I was like, I don't even get to sit and like watch anybody else do this. Like I got to be the first one thrown to the flames. Like this will be interesting. And I put it to the back of my mind for a little while. My bullpen before that game was definitely atrocious. It was all over the map. But like it got in, settled in that first inning. And then I think it was like the 3-4 guys came up and I was like, I think I remember hearing this guy's name or like a time or two, like all this other stuff. But like I said, I think the first outing, getting that one done and like doing as well as I did kind of helped me settle in. And then just like the confidence that the staff gave me and everything like that, going into the next 3, like I think our scouting reports were spot on for every single team. And then I got lucky enough to have Hickey be my catcher the next 3 outings. So like we developed a good rapport in the first one and then just kept rolling through the other 2. And he would come in after the inning would go over and he goes, who do we have next? And he would list them off and he'd go, all right, this is what you need to do. And he would like tell me, I'm like, all right, this is perfect. I make my life easy. I'll just try to throw it there. And so I think that helped a ton. And like I said, after that first one, getting that confidence of just like, my stuff plays just fine here. Like I'm gonna do the same thing I did, and I just need to trust that it's gonna work. And I'm gonna hit every now and again, but like luckily that didn't really happen that much. And so just kind of keep doing what I'm doing until somebody hits it. So.
Yeah, and nobody really hit it in the AFL. I mean, I know it's a smaller sample size; it's only 4 starts, but it's still best of the best down there. It's I just kind of had to like double check. I'm like, am I even looking at these right? But it was a great outing numbers wise, and I guess experience. And did it help you at all to be able to have your manager from Greenville, Iggy Suarez, as your manager in the AFL?
I think that was a big comfort thing for me. It was really like nervous going down there, like not knowing anybody. But then when I found out Iggy told me he was going to be the manager, I was like, I mean, that kind of helps. Our strength coach, Donnie, was also the strength coach. So it was like somebody, like a familiar face to kind of like help me settle in and I don't know, give me a chance to like be comfortable enough to like get to know guys and like figure stuff out down there was nice. So it was big.
What was it like, I guess, obviously your crew and you guys all packed in a car, the rental car to go to and from, but what was it like, I guess, just behind, like off the field a little bit? Like, obviously you guys were probably all at the same apartment and everything. So what was it like? When you weren't on the baseball field, I guess, what was it like in the AFL?
I think I was definitely a little bit less, I don't know. I'm definitely the type of person that likes to stay home. So I was a little different. I think the guys really enjoyed just hanging out and like kind of enjoying the time they had down there. Me and Rosie would sit in the room and play Fortnite a lot. I think that was something that really took place more than anything for us. So I mean, it was cool. Like there was a pool at the facility the guys like to use and everything like that. And so the off-field stuff was good. Like I said, their energy was always fun to hang out and be around with. So just going out to eat and everything like that was always a blast.
I guess the OG map coming out was good timing while you're in the AFL. So
and a little bit extra time down there for that.
Yeah, we'll take that. Chris, I don't want to keep hogging it. If you got something, feel free to.
No, I mean, my question was more towards like now that the AFL and the season is over, you just had like a chance to just kind of take a step back and just kind of reflect on, you started in Indy ball, you ended up with the Red Sox organization. Now you're playing with some of the best minor league players in the game. Plus you got married, you know what I mean? Have you just had a chance to take a step back and be like, holy shit, like my last year has been pretty wild.
Yeah, I think that's why I needed a few weeks when I got home. I was like a little overwhelmed. I like sat down and I got here and I was like, okay, I can take a breath. Like I took a deep breath and was like this was flipping cool. Like this was awesome. And got home, got moved in. I took the week and just been relaxing, kind of like I said, taking a big deep breath and like looking back on it, like it doesn't even feel like that was me. I just felt like it was something else, and it just like you said, it was a crazy year. Like I'd always like looking forward to the wedding all year, and then everything that happened in between, and then to come home and like I don't know, it was absolutely incredible.
How did you do like all of that? Like so.
Yeah,
you had to leave for a weekend to go get married. I think I saw. So like, how was? I mean, I'm wedding planning right now, and I can't even imagine like trying to do it in the middle of the AFL and everything. What was it like?
I mean, when I say I owe my wife a ton, I owe my wife a ton. She I think I told somebody they were like, what was that phone call like to call her and tell her like the AFL is in the middle of your wedding? And I was like, well, I mean, it was a pretty big pause on her end when I told her I wouldn't be home, and so I owe her a ton because she kind of took the reins on that and like planning, especially because it was a destination wedding. We got married in Utah, and so like it was like trying to figure out the timeline and everything like that was pretty chaotic. Like I booked my flight. I think I left Thursday night, flew into Boise at like 1 a.m. because we got delayed. And then we ended up leaving at 6 a.m. the next day to drive down to Utah. Yeah. And then all the wedding stuff, getting everybody, because we just rented 2 big Airbnbs to kind of like host everybody and like putting everybody together, entertaining, and then everything like that just kind of took a lot out of you. We get married on Sunday and then just drive back home on Monday just to fly back down to the AFL. So it was a lot. It was definitely a lot, but it was worth every second of it because, it was amazing.
I can't even imagine, man. It's I know I had messaged you at one point. I'm like, do you want to like wait a couple of weeks after you get back? Because I knew it was one of those things where you were just on a roller coaster, man. That's insane. Like I said, I'm wedding planning right now, and my wedding's not for another like 10 months, and I'm already like stressed out about it. So I couldn't even imagine just like on the fly having to do all that. So that's kudos to you for that, and kudos to the wife as well, obviously. They're the real MVPs here. All right. So I don't want to like, I know you're probably not thinking about this, but I have to ask because you have been I've seen a few spots where your name has come up. It's Rule 5 draft season, obviously, with that coming up. Your name's been floated around. Have you any thought on that? I mean, I know probably, maybe not, but is there just been any thought that you're like, I could be taken in that?
Yeah, I was shocked to find out that I was even eligible. Like, I think my agent ended up calling and talking to them. They're like, yeah, they're going to count the 2020 season. I was like, okay, that's cool. Does that mean I'm eligible this December? Because I think it was on my Baseball Reference. I was checking when I was in Greenville and it says eligible. I was like, I don't think that's right. That can't be right. And he told me, yeah, you are. And so, just to go, like, again, going from Indy ball to finding out, I could be put on the 40-man was awesome. And then to not get the call, I think it's in the back of my mind. I think just, that it's a possibility. Like, see if I turn some heads and see what happens. But, I liked where I was at, but, anything could happen. So,
yeah, I mean, it's kind of out of your control, right? It's nothing you can
absolutely.
Really, yeah. I feel like every guy we kind of talk to that, we've had a few guys on that are like, that were on that bubble of like, okay, they can be protected, they can be taken type thing. And they're just like, honestly, it's like, I can't really do anything about it. It's out of my hands and just got to kind of roll.
If it happens, it happens. But, it's still awesome to think about.
Yeah. So Rule 5 aside, you're going now back into affiliated ball spring training. what I guess what kind of things are you? Because you've been in a spring training before, in affiliated ball. It's just been a few years, and I feel like it was pre-COVID as well. If I'm,
Yeah, it was 2019 was my first spring training.
So add on like 10 years because COVID, it seemed like was like a decade. How much? It was nuts. But what are you kind of looking forward to as you get back towards a affiliated ball spring training?
Just the ability to work on things, having those like the coaches and the coordinators and everything like that, being able to like look at all the stuff that you're doing and I like the excitement of the off season and like taking care of this stuff, really working my butt off to see like show up and be like, hey, this is what I did, and like kind of give the opportunity to like turn heads even more, and then also to get in front of the coordinators and everything like that, kind of just round off a few things that might need a little extra work and have them there to like to see what you're doing and have the opportunity to like again turn some heads and see what comes of it. Like you never know where you end up by the end of spring training, if you do well. And so I'm just looking forward to getting down there and just getting to work. Honestly, I think after the week and a half, 2 weeks of like kind of taking that big deep breath, I kind of miss it already. I'm ready to go back to work, so I'm very excited to get down there and get working.
What is the biggest difference between gearing up for a season in Indy ball compared to affiliate ball? Like how, I guess, do they have a spring training or anything like that?
It's like a week long, and I think it's and the one I had with Missoula was like we just did basically scrimmages and stuff like that. So I think I threw twice in like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and it was mostly just get out there and throw to live hitters for like 2 innings and then see what happens. But I think the biggest thing gearing up is it happens a lot sooner. I think the Indy ball season started in May. Obviously, that's a little bit extra time to kind of feel things out and like get yourself ready. So yeah, definitely quicker turnaround, but I think there's a little more pressure on this spring training. But the off seasons are always my favorite times. I get to be home and like taking care of like training and stuff like that, and really get to be around my family and everything like that, and that always helps with mental health and everything like that. So
absolutely, yeah. You said that was your first time being on the East Coast, right? When you said you were in Greenville, was it? I mean, I know we talked about it earlier, and I obviously like Greenville's a great place and everything, but and I know you were saying about being out of place just with the facilities and all that, but was it obviously like did it take a toll mentally just being like all the way across the country from the future wife at the time, but the family and just everything for the first time kind of being so far away?
Yeah, because like in Missoula, I think I was 8 hours away, which was far enough. It felt like. But also to add like the wedding planning and stuff like that on top of it, like there's a lot of like trying to like organize like phone calls and stuff like that with the 2 hour difference, and then also having to be at the field for most of the day and like get planning and stuff done. It was a headache for sure. There's a lot of stress, but handling that, it was like I said, it was tough being out there, and it definitely was a lot harder than being in Montana. But you kind of figure it out. I've moved around a ton in the last 5 years, and so we've kind of like, and majority of our like my wife and I's relationship was long distance, and so we have a pretty good wrap on it. It's not fun, but we've kind of figured it out, and having that experience kind of helps in that regard too. But yeah, it wasn't terrible.
And so you grew up in Idaho, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so you live in Montana now.
No, I still live in Idaho. I've lived here my whole life aside from college, so I'm in Nampa right now.
Okay, so I've never been to Idaho. I don't think Chris has ever been to Idaho. I
never thought of
it. You think about it, right? But it definitely is one of the states where you're just like a lot. I would almost be willing to bet that at least 9 out of 10 people you would ask in the Northeast probably have never been to Idaho. I'd be willing to assume. What do you do for fun out in Idaho?
For fun? Oh, I don't know. I mean, it gets cold out. You don't really want to leave. And yeah, so I mean,
it's like that here too.
Stay at home a lot. I don't really know. Like there's one of the good things about Idaho is you're not really far from anything. Like I think we're like 2 hours from the mountains. If you wanted to go up and do that kind of thing, go rent a cabin or something, that's up there. one of the things that when I usually work in the off season, I work with my dad, and he does a lot of work out of town and stuff like that. So I get to go see all like the mountain towns and stuff like that, which is always great. And then there's a lot of outdoor stuff to do, but other than that, I mean, if you're an outdoorsy person, this is the place for you. But
does it resemble Yellowstone at all?
Oh, no, not here. This is more of a high desert. It's a little more barren.
I had to ask, but I will say I just moved to a place. I would say I don't know much about Idaho, but I think I live in New Hampshire now, which I would say it's you got mountains up north. It's still connected to the ocean, so you have the ocean, not much of it, and you still have like some towns. So it's like you're kind of close. I've heard somebody describe this state as that you're close to everything. Like you have a little bit of everything. So I'm like, if you find yourself playing in Boston one day, you want to find a place to live that reminds you of home, go to New Hampshire. I love the state. It's great. But all right, Chris, what do you got? I got a couple more one-offs before we kind of wrap things up here.
Like off the wall now, like off the baseball agenda here, or
wherever your little heart wants to take this.
Well, I mean, you were just talking about, because Andrew's like, what's there to do in Idaho? Are you a hunter? Are you an outdoorsy type person? Have you just always been sports? What's your background like when it comes to that?
It's been pretty much baseball. I have three brothers, and we've all played, and so our lives have pretty much revolved around it. The entire time. Like my dad has coached every single one of us, and so it's a lot of late nights at the field, and a lot of summers where you're just pretty much at the field the whole time. So if we love baseball, and we still that's kind of what our lives revolved around. So I'm trying to get out there and get a little bit more stuff done now that I have the opportunity to. So like I said, I do like to go up to the mountains and stuff like that. That's kind of I like to explore a little bit more. I think this year my wife and I visited 3 different national parks, which was huge for me because I'd never been to any of them. I didn't travel a ton. So we went to Glacier when we were up in Montana, which was awesome. Like I would 100% recommend that place. It was immaculate. And then we went to Grand Canyon and Zion. So I definitely would like to be an outdoorsy person. I'm not a hunter. My dad never really got me into that. Never really something I did.
Not me either. So we're good there.
So yeah, I mean, I like to hike and everything like that. It's just finding a time where it's not, you're going to freeze your butt off. That's the hard part.
All right. Well, I've asked a question to every prospect that comes on here, but I don't know if I'm going to ask it this time because I want to ask you. I want to kind of like maybe modify it. So there is a certain fast food fried chicken chain that I live and die by. It's a very southern thing, I think. I mean, I kind of grew up in St. Louis, so I'm not like south, I guess, but kind of is. I don't know. It depends where you are, I guess, on the map. I guess Missouri might be south to you, but I guess some other places it's not. But all right, that's beside the point. So I've asked everybody because there's been, obviously in the Red Sox system, there's a lot of southern guys, but I kind of want to ask you, like, at first, like, what kind of chains do you have up there, like food chains?
We pretty much have all the big ones. I mean, we're actually just getting an In-N-Out. That's the most recent one that's moved up here. It's opening up probably, I think, next week actually in Meridian. So that's huge. I think we're going to get a Raising Cane's in Boise here soon. So, I mean, we have majority of them. We don't really have like Whataburger or anything like that. So, but yeah. So, I mean, majority of the big ones, I don't know.
I was going to ask you that.
I was going to say, Andrew, you're making it sound like Idaho is like a freaking third world country.
No. Though people make Missouri seem like that.
Wi-Fi out there, like I feel like that's like a pressure that's coming out. Like
we just got our first road paved the other day.
The reason why he's asking that, and I'm going to ask it for Andrew, is Andrew is a huge fan of fried chicken, and Andrew would like to know, what is there a certain spot? You mentioned Raising Cane's, but is there a certain place you'd go for your fried chicken sandwich or whatever it might be? Is there a certain chain?
I mean, I love Chick-fil-A. You can't really ever go wrong with Chick-fil-A. But I think Cane's, if we're going with chicken strips, that's probably my favorite place to go to. Just because I think one of the things I like about it the most is they don't have it in Idaho. So getting it when I was in Arizona was always a must. So that's why I liked it so much. I think that's why it holds a special place. Like if I had it all the time, it might be a little different. But yeah, I'd say probably Chick-fil-A to get my Chick-fil-A sandwich.
Okay, the right answer was Zaxby's. You probably never even had it, so
I have not.
See, I'm
I
gonna let
think
it
I
slide.
saw a few of them when I was in South Carolina or North Carolina, but I never even went to one. So
it's all right. There's one. I think I mapped it. There's one a less than 10-minute drive from JetBlue down in Fort Myers. So
I'll give it a shot.
yeah, we had Alex Manellis on last time. He's a Zaxby's guy, and he said he would go to that one frequently. So. All right, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna hold it against you. It's more they don't have a chain. I think higher than maybe Virginia. I think might be the farthest north.
Say every time it's not near up here.
It's okay. I'm not gonna hold that against you, but that was the right answer. And when you are in Fort Myers, please get that. And I'm sure there will be guys that do get it on the team. So we'll just ride with Benellis. I don't know. Just tell them I sent you.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Well, you've given us 40 minutes of your time. I have one baseball related question to end it on. Chris, do you have anything on the bench here? Anything to end it on? It can be baseball or anything.
I mean, all right. I am curious because I've been asking a handful of the players we've had on, whether when it comes to like TV, Netflix, stuff like that. You have a go-to show that's like a comfort show that you just need something on in the background. And is there something you're watching right now that you want to plug and that we should be watching?
I love The Office. I can't really ever go wrong with having that in the background. I feel like that's a pretty standard answer. But I always enjoy that show. I get a good kick out of it, hearing the jokes. You kind of know when they're coming, so you can always listen for them. But my wife and I just started watching, I think it's 1923, the Yellowstone prequel.
Okay.
I'd recommend every single one of those. I think those are like the 1886, 1923 or whatever it is. And then, Yellowstone. I like those shows a lot. I'd say that's what I'm watching right now that I would recommend. So
it's a good choice. I mean, who can hate Kevin Costner too in Yellowstone anyway? So I actually have not seen the whole thing throughout, so I've only seen like one or two episodes, and I don't know why, because it's been on my list forever and I need to start it and I just haven't. So I don't know. Baseball season's also busy for us too, I guess, on our side of things. So I don't know, it's a good excuse. But all right, so there's a lot of uncertainties we've talked about, like for you, obviously with I guess the last one is just a Rule 5, but going into the next season, no matter where you are, do you have like any certain goals that you want to achieve by the end of the season in 2024?
My biggest goal is always stay healthy. That was my number one this season. It's my number one next season. But I think if I stay healthy, things will continue to go in the right direction. And then my next goal is I want to shoot for the big leagues. I want to try to get the debut by the end of the year. I think I continue the road of dominance, I guess, or just continue the road of like put together good outing after good outing, good pitch after good pitch. I think there's a possibility if there's a need somewhere I could fit in there. I think those are my two biggest goals right now. I got to put the third one together, but yeah, like I said, stay healthy. I'll just say win a championship no matter where I'm at. That was my goal this year, and I'm gonna do it again because that was an absolute blast. I loved every second of that. So.
You're getting a ring too, so
I'm
pretty
excited.
Cool. Just to finish it off, I was thinking of something while you were kind of talking there, and I know you said you roomed with Nathan Landry, and I remember when we talked to him, it was one of those things where he was a coveted person in Greenville definitely at the beginning of the season because there was no other left-handers on the roster. And it was just him, and then there's a bunch of righties. And I can't remember, even Noah Dean said it down in Salem, that there was like none down there. Did you realize when you got to Greenville, you're kind of like the only, I guess Dalton Rogers did get there a little later in the season. Yeah. Okay. It was just you and Rogers, though, wasn't it? Like lefty-wise,
yeah,
and then Landry ended up on the IL, but.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was kind of, I don't know, it's a little shocking to me, but and then we ended up looking. I think my brother texted me. And he was like looking through the org. He's like, "Hey, there's not a ton of lefties in the org. Like is you're in a good spot. And I was like, well, I guess things are kind of looking up for this. So just like I said, continue doing what I'm doing. Yeah, be that lefty.
Yeah, oh, sorry, Chris, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I know a lot of times too, like, players, you don't really always get wrapped up when front office makes changes and stuff like that. And now that Breslow is in charge, someone who, former player, left-hander, values guys that throw hard, throw strikes, things like that. Does any of that type of stuff kind of like creep in your mind that you kind of fall in line to, immediately what his philosophy is, to where there is that uncertainty, because when, Chaim Bloom had a focus, you know what I mean? And obviously it's to win. But from you guys, though, they were super aggressive promoting players throughout the system, but now having someone else that's new and kind of, like I said, falling in line of his like profile and philosophy, is that something that kind of gives you a little bit more ease going into the off season and then next year?
I think it gives me a little bit more drive. I think, I want to be that guy. I wouldn't say it's ease. I mean, I'm always like, I know how quickly things can turn, and with an affiliated ball and everything like that. It's, I just want to go out there. I think my biggest goal is to go out there and put together good start after good start, and then see what happens after that. Like if I end up having to be that person that they want to call on, then I will do everything in my power to make sure that that's the right decision for them. And so I don't think ease is the word I want to put in my mind, because I don't think I ever want to try to relax at any point. I think a certain amount of stress is good, keeps you focused and motivated. And so just put together good starts and see what happens.
Well, Zach, you gave us a ton of your time. We definitely appreciate it.
Sure.
I know that Idaho has Wi-Fi and everything now, so that's clear. No, but in all honesty, though, somebody did ask me. Somebody said that to me when I moved from Missouri to Massachusetts. They said, "I'm surprised they have Wi-Fi out there," and I think they were a little serious, but I'm just like, come on, man. I'm like, it's the United States, man. we're up with the time.
I definitely get double takes every time they ask me where I'm from, because they're always expecting probably the standard answer, like Texas, California, or something like that. And I'm like, oh, where are you from? I go, Idaho. And they go, what? What? So, it's still just like that. So,
well, people probably don't say it enough, but I feel like the Pacific Northwest and Utah, Idaho, like that Montana, that whole area, it's on people's bucket list to go to one day. So don't let them tell you it's not, because I know it's gorgeous out there. But Zach, thank you.
Come visit.
I mean, this is a free ad for Visit Pacific Northwest, but I don't care. But Zach, thank you for joining, and we're definitely going to be looking out for you towards spring training and as we start the season. But thank you for your time.
That's good. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.